Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another Skeleton Crew podcast, aka Skrew News. Welcome back. It's been a few weeks since our last episode. Apologies about that, but life kind of got in the way. But here we are now, and I'm your host, Mozsta69 from Sydney, Australia. I've got my wingman from Hurston or Grimhex, Ace. How are you doing, my man?
Nice. I'm doing great, thanks.
Thank you for your time, Ace. I know life's been hectic for you, and in this episode, guys, we've got a very special guest, an org mate, a bar citizen wingman, the very talented TVC from Australia as well. Welcome, TVC.
Thank you very much. Evening, gents.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast. So, look, we've got a fair few things to go through. It's been a very, very action-packed month or couple of months in Star Citizen with a lot of things happening. But before we get stuck into the latest headlines and experiences that we've experienced in the game, let's get a little bit more familiar with Mr. TVC. He is an org mate and good friend of mine. And like I said, we did go to a bar citizen here in Sydney a few weeks ago now, and he kind of crashed on my couch, so to speak. So TVC, tell us a little bit about yourself, my friend, if you can embellish yourself on the internets.
Father of two, living in Canberra, and I work in IT and service delivery and service level management. But outside of that, I'm a musician, photographer, just starting to do a bit of voice acting. And pretty much I'm just an absolute nerd.
And you do some of the voice acting for some of the Machinima that's been out in the Star Citizen world, yeah?
Yeah, I've done a couple episodes for a couple of the different productions. Chronicles of Stanton with the Cut and Wing Incorporated. Unfortunately, all the characters I've played died, but I've been promised I get a character soon that actually lives longer than one episode.
Chronicles of Stanton, and what else?
There's another series called Overclocked. Just did a small part in the latest one there.
Yep.
And recently played a Crusader director in an interview with the Zap Media Group, who do a lot of the sort of news in Stanton, sort of faux, news channel.
Okay. Cool.
Nice. He's a very talented man, is TVC. I'll try and get the links and put them, just down
below. Going to ask.
Yeah. So make sure you go check it out, guys. These guys are, putting together a lot of interesting content made from the clay that is Star Citizen. So TVC, what was like? Do you remember how or when you got involved in Star Citizen, like the first time you heard about it or saw it? What was the hook?
Well, I played all the Wing Commander games, and I was a big fan of those. And I'd luckily just out of the blue heard about the Kickstarter for Star Citizen back in 2012, and bought a sort of starter package then, but probably sort of forgot about it and jumped back in about 2.0, played around for a bit, but there wasn't a whole lot to do back then. Then sort of came back in, I think, sort of full-time around 3.6.
Yep.
So I played a bit with just like solo, and then played for a short while with the Mongrel Squad org. But the time commitments were just a bit too full on for those guys. So I was looking around and found Skeleton Crew, and it's pretty casual but a lot of fun.
Yeah. What was that? Was there a ship? Was there an image that kind of got you in? Mine was the Freelancer. I just saw this sort of business ship, this cargo ship, and I was in love with the game. Do you remember the first imagery, be it on the website or whatever that you saw?
Probably one of the early videos that shows Chris Roberts, getting out of the cockpit of a fighter and just talking about like his vision for the game. I thought, well, that's good enough for me. I'll just pop a little bit down on that and see how it goes.
Yeah. Very nice. Now, I know you're a man. You've actually got a tattoo of a Mercury Star Runner on your forearm?
Yep.
Yep. Which is...
I think I've seen that tattoo somewhere. Like, was it posted on the internet?
I did the mistake of posting it on Reddit and got back the refund crowd.
Because I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere.
That would have rolled up the refund crowd.
It certainly did.
Look at these sheep. So that's a gangster move, putting a Star Citizen ship on your body, and I kind of respect it. So here's the question: what is your favorite ship currently?
Currently, having a bit of fun with the Hornet Tracker.
Okay, nice.
So I've been trying to sort of move away from the bigger ships, which I normally fly, and actually get a little bit better with something that's more agile.
Yep. Awesome. So what concept ships are you most excited for? So ships in the future that you don't have yet, but if there is any ships in the future that you haven't got yet.
The Merchantmen certainly are very keen to see how that comes out. And also the Corsair and Polaris. I think they're going to be sort of a good sized ship for getting a few mates aboard.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Corsair. I'm not a Merchantman owner myself. But yeah, Ace, did you have any questions for Mr. TVC?
Yeah, let's go on with what kind of mechanics do you enjoy at the moment? Like, what's your favorite type of gameplay?
I think definitely org play, doing either bounties or bunkers. I like the collaboration. It'd be good to actually do some more stuff on some bigger ships when we get a few more people online at the same time. Like that's been happening lately in the org. Like for a while there, it was sort of 3 or 4, but there's been a few nights where I've sort of seen 9 and 10 in at any one time. So it'd be good to maybe get a hammerhead out, or something a little bit larger, and sort of take on a few of those missions with somebody actually coordinating the action. Someone calling out pinning targets, calling out portside gunners, I want you on that target. Starboard gunners, I want you on this target. That type of thing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And when the game is finished, what's your goal? Like, what will you enjoy the most? Like, at least in theory.
I'm hoping for some good stuff with on the exploration side. Of actually, sort of scanning out areas, finding jump holes or jump gates rather, and just going into completely unexplored areas and landing on planets and moons and just sort of finding stuff. A lot with, as you know, with Star Citizen, a lot of the big buzz is doing that thing or this thing for the first time, or going to a certain location for the first time and just going, God damn, this looks amazing.
Yeah, relatable. And are there other games you enjoy, like, or a certain genre of games?
I do like first-person shooters like Borderlands or Fallout. ARPGs like Diablo, Path of Exile, but also some sort of survival crafty stuff like V-Rising or Scum or Valheim.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get really lost in those.
Yeah, definitely a sort of a where did 8 hours go and why do I really need to go to the toilet so bad?
Yeah. What game are you currently playing now besides Star Citizen, if any? And sorry, that's my girlfriend in the background. She just got home.
Currently playing a game called Keplerth. Keplerth.
Okay.
It's a survival crafty sort of top-down pixel art game that's it's one of those cool ones where you just sort of discover stuff and you go, oh, that does this thing, and then I can do this thing, and it's got a really cool mechanic for Like there's no actual leveling up, but through like killing monsters and mining and doing a whole bunch of other stuff, you uncover bits and pieces, and then you can use those to unlock genetic modifications, which then you slot into this matrix, and it all has an effect on your character, like, you know, damage resistance or, you know, critical chance, all that sort of stuff. You can tailor really your own character and how you want to approach the game. So it's quite cool.
Oh,
Sounds
Kepler.
interesting.
What a weird name. Kepler. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh,
Kepler.
I don't know how it's pronounced, but that's how it's spelled.
Fair enough. Awesome, man. So welcome to the podcast. That was a little bit of TVC and how he got involved in Star Citizen. We're going to jump into the news items, if you like. And obviously, the elephant in the room is the release of 3.17.2. Everyone's free to go read all the patch notes and stuff, and I'm not going to do that. We're going to talk more about what, you know, I think and you guys might think are the big ticket items that have and how they've changed our experience in playing the current alpha. And the first thing for me was something that I thought was a huge technical block, and I really thought the project would live and die in regards to whether or not they could break through this block or not. And I was a little bit pessimistic, to be honest. And to my shock and horror, CIG just goes ahead and tests this. I call it a breakthrough, and the results were very promising. So they've kept the change, and I'm referring to the server cap being increased from 50 people. It went all the way up to 120 people, and I think they've released the PU to be about 100 people, even though I've seen it a little bit more than 100 a lot of the time. So actually, it might be 120 people. For me, this is a huge development for the game. I always thought, you know, with CryEngine, they would have only 50 people, and it would be a very complicated thing to scale that out. But they just went ahead and did it, tested it, and most of the results are promising. Not all of the results are promising, but the frame rates and all that stuff didn't suffer greatly. Maybe the elevators did, I'm not sure, but some things, you know, there's still a lot of bugs in the game, elevators not working and things like that, but at least there's now 100 people, and for me, the verse has felt so much more alive. There's groups of 5 or 6 people everywhere I look. Jumptown was just like, we went on a fresh server with 0 people on it literally yesterday, and it quickly went from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 people, and within 5 minutes, Jumptown was a giant war zone again, which was just great to see. But what's your thoughts, Ace? Have you had time to dabble? I know your life's pretty busy at the moment, but have you?
I've had a little time to jump into the verse, and it really does feel more alive. I had to stand in line at Cubby Blast to buy some guns. That was fun, and was the first time there was an actual line of people waiting to get on consoles. And yeah, seeing the spaceports populated with more players it's a real experience. I mean, it's a good pointer to where the game is headed, and I've enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the same experience where there's actually queues in multiple stores, people wandering around in stores, 5 or 6 people, and it just put a smile on my face. Or running down that, you know, lonely corridor in an R&R, and you'll see 1 or 2 people run past you. Like in other MMOs, you know, in other MMOs, you're used to seeing people running around, and now I'm seeing that a lot more frequently, which really makes the universe a lot more immersive.
Yep, really excited when they announced it for the PTU, and then they said, you know, it's only going to be for the PTU. But I was pleasantly surprised that they actually sort of carried through. It's not a usual thing for CIG to like get something really good and then somehow, you know, hobnail it. But with this one, they've push it through, and I think the feedback's been generally good. For the only issue I think we've had is some frames down on the Reclaimer Derelict on Microtech.
Yeah,
that's the only time I've seen sort of a performance hit, but other than that, it's been really good.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen like elevators at the moment anyway of recording of today have all sort of pooped themselves. There was a large amount of desync at the Reclaimer site and frame hits and stuff. But still, you go forward. 100 people is a big change to the game, and hopefully they can fix that stuff up.
I'm positive they will figure out how to adapt it so the frame rate doesn't drop.
Yeah, the frame rate was only in select places. Generally speaking, the frame rate was really good.
Yeah.
Space combat.
Sorry, TVC?
Like space combat was as smooth as like the 317.1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all been fine. It was just that Reclaimer site desync was horrible. Like there was 6 or 7 of us, and everyone was literally just teleporting around really badly. Because one of the things they've done in 317.2 as well is they've done some sort of network optimization between actors, between players, so that when you look at me and I look at you, we're more in sync. But I feel like that's kind of made the world of NPCs and AIs or something even worse or something. I don't know. I think they fiddled with something and they're optimizing it. That's my technical description.
Give him some time to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
So, it's twice the capacity we had before, so.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is really, like I said, seeing that 100 people in the server is awesome. And scary at the same time because...
Yeah, it's both.
Mate, we were at Jumptown. I reckon this org had it locked down, and there was like... This was yesterday. There was guys on the ground in the org, at least 3 guys on the ground. There was at least a couple of vehicles, so that's another couple of guys. Then there was at least 3 or 4 fighters in the air, and then there was, you could tell they had people at the OM and at the spaceport just scouting out as well. So, one org had 10, 12 people, and it's going to be a tough world for the solo player, I think.
Oh, yeah.
The numbers for NPCs goes up as well, and they'll have when they're talking about the characteristics and traits that the NPCs will have, there'll be like an increase in the amount of sort of pirate type NPCs. So I think on top of more players, you're going to have more interdictions and stuff like that as well. So interesting times.
Actually, you're right. Me and one of my friends, Taker, we were in a mole and we went down to the surface of the moon, just a random place, not even a point of interest. We made sure to go to a random location, and an NPC eclipse shows up. And usually when an NPC shows up, it doesn't matter because the AI is relatively rudimentary and you can sort of deal with it. But because we were in a mole, this thing was killing us. And we were panicking, and I didn't expect that to be the case. Like, I expect another player to come and kill me, but in a mole, I had an eclipse up my behind, and then a UEE Navy appeared 5 minutes later and started doing this janky dogfight with the eclipse, and it gave us time to try and get away from them, and we didn't get 100% away from them because the mole is a giant freaking brick house, but we could put enough distance where we could kind of position the ship and look back around and watch these 2 guys dogfighting, and we were literally we were damaged as well at that point, and we were literally if the UEE guy dies, we're dead. If the UEE guy wins, he saved our lives, and we were cheering for this UEE AI to win, and he did win, he or she, and we were kind of looking at each other going, wow, that could have been Quanta. I don't know, but it was really organic, and it was driven by janky AI, but it was still a really, really fun experience. But so there you go.
In that chain of events was really good too.
Yeah. So looking forward to more and more of that stuff. And you're right, TVC. Being a solo player, you look at it any which way, it's going to be hard, man. You're going to have all sorts coming at you. So that's the server cap. It's made the verse feel alive, which is brilliant. The other thing that came in 3.17.2, for me anyway, that was quite large was the Siege of Orison event. It had some problems, or it has some problems with people camping at the train shop or train station, and killing people before they're able to come on board the platform. So some people have been griefing, but apparently the griefing was happening a lot more in the PTU, where it should, as opposed to the PU. I myself, I've done it. I've attempted it 3 times. I haven't been able to finish it, mainly due to... Actually, I did finish it once because another group of players finished it while I was involved in it. And the other 2 times, it bugged out. I got to the end platform once, and unfortunately the main boss kind of bugged out, which was sad. But we had a lot of fun. Again, with our org mates, 4 or 5, 6 of us jumping in was pretty fun. TVC, have you've played with us in the Siege? What are your thoughts?
I haven't actually.
You haven't?
Watched quite a few content creators go through it, and the general feedback is this is brilliant and broken. Guys,
it's both those things.
Level Cap Gaming and Obsidian Ant and Goodish Gamer, all those sort of guys have been giving it a go. And it's the same with anything in Star Citizen, really. When it works, it's mind blowing. But that's only when it works. When it doesn't, it's not so good.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my experience too.
Have you played it at all, TVC? Not TVC, Ace?
Yes, I had several attempts at playing it, but I've had a lot of issues. It was either 30Ks or my game randomly crashing for whatever reason.
Yep.
But the times it did work, it was fucking awesome. Yeah, to be honest here. It was big fun, and the only thing that bothered me was I went in with full equipment, and every time I 30K'd or I got disconnected for some other reason, or the game crashed, I woke up back at Orison without my gear because apparently my character had stayed behind.
Right.
Bugger.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the point I decided to just go there in my undies and steal whatever I could.
One of those players.
Of course. So much free loot.
That's it.
It's one of the mechanics I enjoy the most, like looting stuff. And
yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. I didn't get to finish it, unfortunately, but I've had a few fun runs anyway.
Nice, man. I mean, my take on it is, I think the AI. I don't know what the deal is with the AI. Maybe CIG are not working on it yet, or whatever. But I'm not one of those people that say it's the server. I don't like using the language "it's the server." I think in an MMO, the server is the game, and people that say, "Oh, the AI runs awesome, beautifully," but if the server doesn't perform, then it doesn't run beautifully. That's not an argument for me. That's a bit of a cop out. So the AI's
the car runs really well if it's got a gearbox, but my car doesn't have a gearbox.
Yeah, I think sometimes a lot of us there's a lot of not excuses, but we chop away bits and pieces of the game that doesn't fit our narrative. And a lot of people, when you say this doesn't perform well, they'll go, "Oh, well, it's the server." And I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm a consumer of an MMO. Like, I don't care if it's the server, the switch, or the router, dude. It's the game. Or some people will say, "Oh, CIG did this or that," and it was a little bit dishonest, and they'll say, well, that's the marketing department. That's not that, like, they'll disassociate the marketing department from SIG as if SIG didn't make all the decisions or something. But and all the good stuff comes from everyone as well. I'm just saying, my point being that the AI was really bad, and I think I want to give benefit of the doubt that they're not really, like, it's not a focus yet to improve that stuff. That's my serious hope. Anyway,
and especially on the reclaim emissions with the planetary nav mesh, I always thought as soon as that comes in, that's going to play some havoc with the NPC, be it on the ground mesh or not, because all the NPCs are going to have to be able to use that nav mesh, whether they're on planet side or in a station or in a ship or whatever. So I always thought it was going to have some sort of knock-on effect until they sort of figured it all out.
Yeah, and I think, again, given the benefit of the doubt, hopefully things will get better and better with the AI. But you can go into Siege of Orison and literally your biggest problem is running out of ammo, because you've killed 85 Ninetales, and you're about to kill another 30 of them, but you've got no ammo left or something. It's a bloodbath.
They must have good recruiters.
I know. They've got the most enormous army ever, dude. Bigger than the Vandal, I think, the Ninetales. Seriously.
Yeah, they're pretty well organized for a bunch of pirates. Gotta give them that.
Absolutely. But shout out to the community, man. Like, so many times I've gone in there on the Australian server and, like, been shot down, whatever, killed, whatever, and guys have saved my life. We've maybe been griefed once out of, the 10 hours that we were there, but I got rezzed, I got my life saved, I got, rescued by randoms continuously. So, yeah, big shout out to the community there. I know there's been some griefers, but, yeah.
Yes, where someone came in the latter stages where they've got the C2, and he's open hatched and like to rescue a couple of guys that were sort of pinned down who they didn't know, and you could hear them in the proximity voice comms going, "Nah, dude, it's an NPC," and the other goes, "No, this is a player, man." And then the other guy goes going, "Nope, fellas, not an NPC."
We got shut at by players just once or twice, but I don't know if you guys know, but the last bit of the mission is jumping onto a spaceship and trying to do a hot landing on what's called the administration landing pad, or floating city or whatever. And that's super exciting because everything's like shooting at you, your ship's about to blow, and you're like diving out of the ship just as it blows up. And yeah, it kind of brings the best elements of Star Citizen together when it works really well. Excuse my ignorance, guys. For anyone listening, like, Siege of Orison is the first big FPS event where Ninetales, which are a bunch of pirates, have taken over a part of Orison, which is the floating city in Crusader, and they've taken a few of the what are they called? Platforms. That's the word. Thanks, guys. They've taken over a few of the platforms, and they've jammed the airspace using these jammers, so you can't fly in. You have to go in guns blazing. So I should have probably said that at the top. Sorry.
And also, too, it's a multi-stage event. Like, yeah, it's all sort of FPS, and as you advance through, you get access to like a small shuttle to sort of get you through to another area, and it just keeps amping up until you get to the final battle.
It's quite complex.
Yeah, and it's pretty long. I think it's like 3 or 4 hours to get the whole mission done.
Yes. How do you think of that, Ace? Like, I'm thinking of like your customers trying to consume a game, and you build something that takes 4 hours. So I'm thinking of you've got a busy life. TVC's got a busy life. Are you guys okay with that? Do you wish it was a bit shorter, or what? I'll start with you, Ace. Are you okay with that 4-hour event?
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that, because I mean, if you sit down to play Star Citizen, you plan on not having a quick game. That's a given from any session I've had so far. It always was like, okay, first get to your ship, then fly to point B and see what's up. And if you play Star Citizen, you take your time for Star Citizen. There's no, I'm gonna have a quick match. There's no 5-minute gaming here. So
I'm gonna have a quick ride in the elevator and then log off.
Yeah, pretty much. And with all the bugs and crashes and disconnects and 30Ks and whatnot, you're pretty much used to spending more time on it. And so it's fun if it works for 3 hours straight instead of just being 3 hours of frustration.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. There's enough short missions you can do in between, so having some longer ones with a little bit of development in them is totally okay with me.
That's a good point,
If you don't have the time, don't play them.
Do a bunker or something.
Yeah, exactly. You can do those in 10 minutes and
good point.
Move on.
What about you, TVC?
Yeah, look, I'm happy with the time length, but I'm probably more happy with them biting off a big chunk for their first sort of long mission. So I think if they can nail like a 3-hour long mission and iron a lot of the tweaks out, then they can start bringing in missions that go for half an hour or an hour and a half or something, and make them a little bit less complex, just so we've got a good sort of variance of missions.
Yeah.
And because communities, once you've played for a while, are pretty well knowledgeable on what's what. So you'll know that, look, I've only got a couple of hours. I might string together a couple of these missions and just, tailor your game session down to what time you've got and what you feel like doing.
Yeah.
Good point.
Good point. So that's Siege of Orison. We're going to continue to there's a lot of stuff going on. We've got Siege of Orison, we've got Jumptown going on. So there's a lot of good activity in the verse. And then they added, Reclaimer rec sites, both in space and on the ground. And really good use of like new assets and stuff. Like I went into the space one and there was all just new assets that I hadn't seen. Graffiti and different types of mess and things and it gave that Reclaimer an eerie kind of feeling, and there was some puzzles you had to solve, which was really cool. And then the one on the ground was just, I was in awe the first time I landed on the ground and walked around. Unfortunately, the NPCs haven't worked for me. The thing that you touched on earlier, TVC, was that they've introduced this kind of nav mesh or nav grid or something that that enables NPCs to walk around on the surface of the planet, which hasn't happened yet in Star Citizen, but it's in the patch now. So that nav mesh probably, I don't know, could be related to the desync or something we were experiencing because it happened to be in that zone. I'm not sure, but I haven't had really effective NPCs at that site.
Some complex code in the back end to be able to have it dynamically adjust itself. It's like, here's all the stuff that we put on the planet, be it wrecks, huts, trees, whatever, and it will then automatically generate that nav mesh so the NPCs can just walk around where they need to walk around, or they can walk over if the mesh wraps that piece of land.
Yeah, it's extremely complex. It's way more complex than just having a set map with NPCs scattered on it. These nav meshes are going to be used at scale for dozens and dozens of planets, and apparently reinforcements are meant to come in. A Cutlass is meant to land, I think. I'm not sure. I never saw it working, but these are huge changes to the game. But the Reclaimer site on the ground is beautiful. There's like, they've built a settlement, a little settlement within the bosom of this crashed Reclaimer. It's really atmospheric. It's nicely detailed, and looking forward to more NPCs than just Ninetales at the moment. And maybe just normal people that live there and things would be really, really awesome.
Especially if they have mission givers there. Like you go down to one of these peaceful NPC settlements in a crashed, Reclaimer or 600i or whatever, and you go see someone there and it says, we need this commodity or these guns or whatever, and basically they pay you to go source them and bring them back. Just sort of missions like that can be generated from these NPC areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And
merchant. I've had one pretty cool session at the Reclaimer site on Microtech. There were some guys announcing in the chat, "Ghost Hollow is ours. Don't come or you will be killed." So of course we went and checked it out, and it was a new jump town basically.
Of course.
Especially if you got there ahead of time and you've mapped out good ambush spots or sniper spots. It'd be a cool thing to try.
Yeah, the guys were definitely dug in.
Oh, that'd be a great place to have a battle as well.
Oh yeah, it was. It was really fun.
It's beautiful though, eh?
Absolutely is.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it's going to look like once they get ray tracing. Stuff like areas like that would just be mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You went during night or daytime?
Day.
Yeah, me too. It's just great, man.
Yeah.
Really love the Reclaimer sites. I haven't seen the one in space yet, which is on my Star Citizen to-do list.
It's definitely worth it. There are rooms in the Reclaimer. They got like I said, new assets. You'll know what I mean. Things that you haven't seen before in the style you haven't seen before.
It's the EVA character model positioning, so you're not just deposing through space anymore. So I guess
there's areas of the ship that have gravity and areas that don't. Going from one area to another, and then just boom, not having any gravity, and suddenly you're spinning through the air.
Yeah.
Nice. I thought it would be like what's the station called? The Kovalek station, the decommissioned one, the broken one, where you go in and there's just no gravity.
Yeah.
But if there's areas with and without gravity, that's even funnier.
Yeah, there's more. It's thankfully a lot of gravity, so it's super fun.
The only super not fun thing rather is when you're going through the areas with no gravity and then suddenly finding gravity suddenly thrust upon you.
Yes.
And you're some distance off the ground.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
So a lot of missions, a lot of different missions have been added as part of 3.17.2. And combat missions. So are they beacon missions? Yeah, I think they would call them combat beacon missions. So the combat
distance ones.
Yeah, the ones that flash on top of your screen.
Yeah,
So
I haven't done any yet.
So apparently they've added, I think, 10 levels of difficulty, like let's say level 1 to level 10, and they've introduced a lot more variety of different ships in those combat beacons. I think recently there was a patch released today. I think they've nerfed the amount of reward they've given for those beacons because you could make a lot of money, and they've kind of realized that and nerfed that, which is a great thing. But I didn't realize that someone told me this is being controlled by Quanta. Is it Quanta or Quantum? I keep forgetting. The Tony Z AI.
It's one of the two.
It's one of the two, isn't it? Yeah. I'll just say Quanta. Apparently it's being controlled by Quanta. So did you guys know about this at all?
I actually didn't.
Yeah.
I thought they were just randomly popping up, but might well be some sort of logic behind why, when, and if they pop up.
Yeah.
I think I'd even be testing that that probability thing that they were talking about. In these sort of areas, the probability of pirates is this, or UEE is this. So various areas will have more likelihood to have these type of missions, I think.
Yep. I mean, we did like these missions in a certain area until they got depleted, and then it was in another area that we had to go to do the missions. So there was certainly some kind of response by the game to the fact that we depleted the missions in this area, if that makes sense. And we had to go to ARCorp, for example, to get more missions. So I'm not 100% sure, but someone told me that it is because Quanta's been released for a little while, and we saw some weird commodity prices on your Mobiglass that had sort of Quanta prices on it, but it didn't really impact my life at all. But this could be the initial big toe of Quanta that's kind of impacting your life, and maybe that eclipse that came down to the surface of the planet and hassled us in the mall could be part of Quanta as well. But really, really interesting. Enjoying doing those missions as well. They're really simple. They always seem to be close by. If it pops up on your screen, typically it's not like on the other side of the verse. You can quickly get them and fight, kind of all sorts of different enemies as well. So they're pretty fun. They're pretty fun.
I'm gonna check them out next, I guess.
So that's it for 317.2 from my perspective. And I know I haven't given you guys much time to think about it, but is there anything else that I've missed out or was kind of impressive in your mind from 317.2? We covered the server cap increase. We spoke about the siege of Orison, the Reclaimer sites, including the nav mesh that's being introduced on the surface of the planets and stuff. The combat missions. We briefly, spoke about the networking improvements that they've been tinkering with, so that player characters look more earthed, more connected to the ground that they're walking on, as opposed to kind of twitching and tap dancing and stuff. Is there anything else that stuck out in your mind, Ace?
Players in motion.
Sorry?
Player motion seems a lot smoother when you're playing with other people. They seem to sort of jitter around a lot less. It's a lot smoother.
Yes, yeah. The networking improvements that they've done has paid off, I think. It's funny, like you either go from really smooth experience to not seeing your friend.
It's one of the two.
Or yeah, it's weird. Like you have this really high quality or this extreme low quality desync. But yeah, when you can see your friend, he seems to be relatively synchronized, which is nice. Ace, anything from your perspective on 317.2?
There's nothing else I can really think of, and the times I've played, I've tried to play Siege of Orison or was at the Reclaimer sites. So
yeah,
even if there was a lot of other stuff, I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah,
because I was already really busy with that, and
yeah,
as I said, Siege of Orison takes up a lot of time. So
it certainly does. Cool. Well, let's quickly run into. There was a roadmap roundup on 3rd of August. There's some notes that I'm going to read through, and you guys just tell me what your thoughts are. Some of them are self-explanatory, but we're going to have. This is stuff that's been added to the release view of 318, ladies and gents. So Daymar crash site, a derelict settlement on Daymar using parts of the Star Runner and 600i, as well as some HABs adapted to the biome to create a point of interest with some type of activity.
Luxury.
Luxury crash site, yeah.
I have to check that out. Sounds amazing. That especially that it's got elements from 2 ships and some what's it called? Some settlement bits from the HAPs.
Be funny with the NPCs like, what do you mean, Jeeves? I have to get out of the spa.
That's right. They're like living in luxury. 2 ships, the Star Runner and the 600i. I wonder what the story is there that they would have crashed at the same place.
Pirates. It's always pirates.
Of course. Was it a love triangle? Was it, an ex-husband chasing down an ex-wife? What was it? So that'll be cool. Some more, and Daymar's always a beautiful backdrop to have anything. So
I totally agree. It's one of my favorite moons.
Sand people.
The favorite moon.
Yeah. New Rivers and Stanton. So again, I'm as you guys couldn't have, if you haven't sort of told, I'm a massive fan of Star Citizen, but I tend to be a bit skeptical sometimes. That's just my nature. But when they introduced the river in Microtech, I wasn't impressed because they just did one river. But again, SIG's proven me wrong. They're doing new rivers. They're doing more rivers, which is exactly what I wanted to see. If they'd done one river in Microtech and then we hear nothing about rivers for another year, I would have been really disappointed, right? Yeah. But here it is in 3.18, hopefully. They'll be setting up biome-specific object rule sets around bodies of water and distributing those by placing additional rivers and lakes on Microtech and Hurston. So, SIG, you've proven me wrong, and I love it when you do it. I love it when you slap me in the face. So awesome. More rivers and stuff. Obviously, that's...
Is the swimming mechanic in yet?
No.
It's been a while I've been to the Microtech River, and the last time I was, you could just run underwater.
It's the same.
I think I've read somewhere that's coming soon too.
Yeah, they need to add buoyancy.
Yeah. That's going to be cool.
And also, if it paves the way for lava rivers in Pyro, and I also believe it's got something to do with a systemic way of putting roads between outposts.
Yes.
And that's something I would be super excited for, just to be able to go on a literal road trip, especially when ownership comes in. You can set up your own outpost and the council comes in, put a road for you.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I've never been part of a project where when I say I'm so excited about roads, I'm so excited about roads. I can't wait for roads. Sand cave archetypes. So establishing the visual language creation pipeline and quality standard for a new sand cave. I don't know. So there's new types of caves. So I don't know what a sand... Is there rock caves and sand caves? I don't really know the difference between a sand cave.
It's, those pictures that you see of that really sort of punchy, sort of yellowy orange rock formations. And, they use it for windows backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yes.
I think it's that sort of feel.
Right. Yep.
With sort of, buttes going into caves and whatnot.
It would be then predominantly on Daymar, I suppose. Oh, I don't know. Maybe all those moons have
and
got
other places too.
Yeah. So more caves for you cave delvers.
I'm not a big fan of the caves we do have now. To be honest, I think they are kind of annoying.
I agree.
Like when you fall down from certain heights, then it's kind of complicated to get back up. And they need to add some sort of mechanics to the characters to be able to climb up easier.
Yep.
I mean, not suggesting a dying light type level, but something where you can get from ledges to ledges and not get stuck. Where I've seen videos of guys sort of stuck in a invisible sort of hole, and the only way they could get out is for someone with them to like punch them in the face until they moved far enough away that they could jump out.
Exactly. Yeah, some sort of grapple gun or a smarter use of the tractor beam or something like that would really help all the caves, I think. Because it's only certain ledges you can climb on, and that doesn't really make sense. Like, they all got that slight yellow border up top, and okay, that's a climbable one. So, yeah, I think they could definitely improve them with a few character traits or equipment or whatever.
Yeah, agreed. Actually, this ties into something that I kind of should have spoken about, but Arena Commander Classic Race Mode overhaul. So a complete overhaul of all systems and maps in Arena Commander Classic Race Mode. Improvements include a complete refactor of the checkpoint entity and race manager, improving scoring, complete rework of all 3 New Horizons speedways, as well as a new map, the Snake Pit. So they're going to add the Snake Pit, which is something that's in 3.17.2 we didn't talk about, which is the kind of mining site, aka racing location, which they've added in the PU, and a lot of people are racing around and having a great time at the Snake Pit. That's going to be added to the race mode in Arena Commander. So races are getting some attention and some love, it seems, but although most of the projects that you hear about seems to be from developers that are just doing something on the side, it's funny, they've also announced the Grey Cat race course, which looks like a lot of fun, a lot of neon lights and kind of Mario Karts type feel to it. That's being tested as we speak, and will be coming soon. And then combined with the Snake Pit and this Arena Commander race mode overhaul, all the races are getting some attention, and good on them. I always admired the racing, this sort of cult racing core that has had no love from SIG ever. I met a couple of them that happened to be some of the top racers. I've lost contact with them since, because all they did was race, but they could finish the courses on in the race mode in top times. And I always kind of admired them. I was like, you guys, like, combat is combat. A lot of people love combat. A lot of people love the mining and stuff. But these racer boys are and it's a testament to the game that it can have so many different communities in one game. There's no other game like it.
I think I actually tried one of those races they had for a while at Grim Hex, but they were always bugged out. I sort of got there to the starting line and just sat there and nobody else turned up. I was like,
that's right. There used to be race missions. I totally forgot about that. That's right, TVC.
Yeah, I think that one was put on the back burner under the too hard basket, I think.
Yeah.
But maybe they're on the way back, which would be good. They'll bring in the have a drink and have a bet on your mates doing a race.
Yeah, so Grim Hex has got some sort of race course facility inside it with, like a scoreboard and stuff. You've all seen it, right? The expansion at Grim Hex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how that's going to work with, like, griefers and stuff. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because I think it's a spaceship race course somewhere in Grim Hex. I don't think they've finished it or anything, but
somewhere in the belt, there, close to Grim Hex.
Right.
At least that's what I imagine. So, could be wrong, but it would make sense.
Whether the race course and the area surrounded in no fire zone, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that might be possible. That it's just a zone where you're not affected by lasers, as it is right now. If you're close enough to Grim Hex, and you get shot, you take no damage. So that might be a thing.
Although, mind you, the Snake Pit's much the same. You can just go there and shoot anyone. It's up to people to secure the area, so you could have the same philosophy, I suppose. But yeah, race is getting lots of love, which is great to see. Another thing they're adding is a sandbox prison activities, guys. So for you prison lovers, there's an expansion of prison gameplay and a new suite of missions and activities to give inmates more opportunities to earn merit. So, clean the toilet, maybe. Take out the trash.
Pick up the soap.
Pick up the soap.
I'd like to see prison boxing matches, cause there's a ring in one of the tunnels. There's like a boxing ring.
Yeah, I think it's mysteriously been removed.
Has it?
I think so, yeah. Because I've been searching for it every time I'm in there. And I remember someone in Spectrum saying that we're talking about something else, and someone saying, oh, that got removed, like the boxing ring got removed in the prison. I was like, that's what happened to it. I always thought it was there. Yeah. I mean, imagine a boxing ring in it'll be like the Thunderdome in Mad Max. Like, there'll just be these mad prisoners beating the shit out of each other, betting money or cigarettes.
Especially if they amp up the range of the proximity comms, so everyone watching can like hold their big plus and start, just screaming out and yelling out for someone.
Yeah,
it'll be awesome to get in the middle.
That would be really cool, yeah.
This next one's really interesting, guys. Maybe I found it interesting anyway, because I have to go there a lot to clear my crime stat. And that's Security Post Korea reactivation. So let me read the text. Security Post Korea will be taking a more central role in Stanton security. Crusader Security has moved in a full-time staff and have begun storing confiscated contraband aboard. The station will be off limits to all civilians unless given prior authorization. So there goes.
It could be.
Sounds like the next place to loot, honestly.
After you kill a bunch of.
If they've got a mission for you go somewhere, pick up the contraband to deliver it to Korea, and then after you've done that at Korea, then if you, or before you actually hand it in, probably, you might want to do a little bit of looting on the side, then hand in the contraband you were asked to bring in, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me, yeah.
So,
or just go in, kill everybody, and take that nice contraband. Also a good option for missions. Well, not missions, but free time entertainment. Let's call it that.
So it kind of puts it in line with the bunkers, right? On the other planets where you go in and you clear your crime stat, you've got to kill a bunch of security guys first, and then you kind of get more of a crime stat before you get to clear your crime stat type thing. I feel like this is the same now. You got to kill a bunch of good guys before you get access to the terminal.
Well, they knew what they were getting when they worked for Korea.
That's it.
Definitely sounds like it's gonna be harder to clear your crime set, because Korea oftentimes was our go-to choice for that.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous as is, because you have this 360-degree access to the computer room, or to the central hub where the computer is located. So
yeah,
always be shot from the back.
And it'd be great if the staff there was also on some sort of shifts. So you get in there, mow them all down, start to do your looting, start to clear your crime stat, and then a whole bunch turn up, look around, see all the dead bodies. Like, honestly, guys, it wasn't me.
Yeah, that was the other dude. He just left. Yeah, not gonna work.
It was him. So that's interesting. So yeah, gone are the days. Like, security port Korea is dangerous, but like I'd say 75% of the time you get a free run of going in there. No one's there, and you clear your crime stat and you get some loot. And it kind of doesn't make sense law-wise that there's this space station in really good condition with a working terminal, and it's just abandoned almost in a weird way. So this makes more sense to have people posted there. It fits in with the lore of what's going on. So
It's definitely going to be fun. It's one of the locations I really enjoy.
yeah. And finally, I've skipped a couple of points because I'm going straight to this. So salvaging in 318 is huge. Hull stripping. listen to this, guys. So previously, the initial release of hole stripping feature was limited to FPS and the Drake Vulture. This is being updated to also include hole stripping aboard the Aegis Reclaimer using its remote salvage turrets.
Oh, where the co-pilot sits. Be able to do it from there.
I don't know exactly where because I don't own a Reclaimer TVC, but I know now that the Reclaimer will be salvaging in 318.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that what you would think of normally as the co-pilot seat is actually the turret seat, because it makes sense because it's at the front of the ship where the pilot is, so it's got good visibility.
Yep.
I think the Reclaimer has like a central hub somewhere with those 4 seats around like a computer control thing. I think those might be for the salvage turrets. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a while. I've been on one and actually checked out all the individual turrets.
Yeah, I've only flown in one a couple of times, but I thought that turret one was similar to like the one underneath the cockpit for the mole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure which one it is. Because it's supposed to have like those hull stripping turrets, and it's got the big claw underneath, which is not yet working. Apparently.
No, not yet. That's a big thing to get working. That's a lot of animation, I think.
Well, we'll not only be hull stripping at that point. I think you'll be also able to strip components from wrecked ships, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's where the real money can be made, I guess.
Yeah. So really, really strong roadmap roundup, fleshing out 318, which, as we all know, is going to have persistent entity streaming, which is foundation technology needed for server meshing. That's going to be in it as well. So this patch, I think, is going to be tested, according to Mr. Roberts, will be in Evocati for a very long time because of persistent entity streaming. So we won't see it for a while, probably, I don't know, see it next year or something. But it's getting juicier and juicier. And to be honest, even if it had none of these features and it just had persistent entity streaming, I'd be very happy with that, because that's a very important foundational piece of tech for server meshing. So that's it for this episode, guys. Ace, thank you so much for joining me, my man. Appreciate your time. And TVC, it's been wonderful having you as well, my friend. And we'll have you on more episodes as well. And thanks for your time, buddy.
Thanks, man. It's been good.
Everyone at home, thank you all. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you have any queries or whatnot, you can hit me up on Twitter at Mozsta69. If you got any questions or feedback, let us know. Until next time, peace out and see you in the verse.